do you think has been key to their success these last 2 years?
Reviving Barcelona, reviving La Masia, giving an identity to this team that I think it was desperate for. And although it may have its flaws, it's giving you 2 La Liga titles. Yes, Champions League is the big one that you have to go after, but for the first time since Messi left Barcelona, we look at Hansi Flick's Barça, or we look at just Barça in general, thanks to Hansi Flick, and you say, must-watch football. You got to turn it on. It's attractive, it's fun, and they've become one of the best teams in Europe.
So they got their identity back, Tony. Did you see that as well?
I think it's clear what they want to do, right? And he's unapologetic about the fact that he wants to play with a high line, that this is how they're going to play. They're going to press. I think in some of the moves at Adeyemi and Anthony Gordon, it addresses some of the things, the pressing higher up the field, right? Guys with energy, guys that can do it. I don't think we're going to see a change in style. As a neutral, I love it, right? We watch it. We're enthralled by every moment of watching Barcelona and how they're going to attack games. It may have cost them, right, a Champions League title, I think 2 years ago more than last year. But Hansi Flick is going to do Hansi Flick, right? And it's going to be fun to watch. Certainly a talented side, deep in a lot of positions. So this is a team that I think, once again, is the favorite in La Liga.
You know what's particular, though? You say that it's fun as a neutral. Because as a Barca fan, perhaps you might have a gripe with his style of play.
Yeah.
But in general, I think Barca fans say, we'll go the Hansi Flick route. It's entertaining. It has given us 2 La Ligas. They're trying to go for back-to-back La Ligas. So, although, yes, it has its flaws, I think Barca fans in general,
they would prefer this.
And they'll take the flaws. Let's go for it again. Even with our high line, I think we can get it done.
You know, Tom, what I like about him is he said, I know there's flaws. I know against Inter how it went, and we got to change some things. But we need to be better at what we do, right? And so it's not like I'm going to change for the sake of change. Let's do what we do, but do it a little bit better.
Yeah, I think that's why he's so easy to get behind in the locker room. He's got these clear ideas, passionate views and principles, and he does it in a way that isn't like, I'm a dictator, and if you don't do what I want, then you're out. Like, I think that he's somebody who commands the locker room. He's been at a lot of big clubs. He knows how to manage a lot of stars and the pressure that comes with a job like this. And he's somebody that just portrays confidence and ease. And he's not, like, in your face about it. It's just, you know, contract talks is a great example. He was, going into the year with a 1+1 or 2 years, and that's short at a club like Barcelona. Usually you're trying to get a 5-year deal, and then if they fire you after 2, you still get paid out for a few. And he goes, no, like, this is how we work. We'll talk about it in the offseason, and, you know, I want to stay, but, you know, this is how I work. And just everything he does, and that filters down to the pitch. And the only worry for me here, and this isn't a Barcelona unique problem, but the amount of football these players are playing, high intensity that they play here. Yeah. You look at the injuries that's happened to Pedri, Gavi, and Lamine Yamal. Rafinha. Like, that's my only worry here, is how sustainable is it for how many games these players are playing at this intense rate? I don't want these young players in particular to burn out or get overloaded with these muscle injuries. So that's my only worry. But again, that's not just a Hansi Flick thing. That's a world football issue.
Yeah, definitely. You talk about expectations next season, and they've gone back-to-back in La Liga, which is obviously incredible. Do you think these fans are itching for a Champions League trophy? The last time they won was in 2015.
2015. It's going to be 12 years at this point, right? Because the Champions League final is going to be 2027. 12 years. Just comes to show you how difficult it is to win the Champions League. I feel like there's not too many clubs in the world that from the very beginning tell the manager, hey, objective, win the Champions League. I think that's almost unfair to basically every club, even Liverpool, who has an incredible European history. Yes, of course, vie to compete to try to get to semi-final, final. Because once you're in the semi-final, anything can happen, right? The Bayerns of the world, Liverpool. At one point, it was Milan. Sorry, Tom.
They were a C.
But Barca, yes, that's been the one missing piece to all of this. Messi came so close against Liverpool in 2019 with Suarez, and they haven't been that close since until against Inter in a couple seasons ago.
Yeah, you're looking at the semifinal, right? That was sort of the wildest semifinal maybe we've ever seen in Champions League, right? What was it, 7-6 or 8-7 on aggregate? Whatever it ended up being. And I think that's the one that probably burns more than last year because they were so close, and had they just managed it a little bit differently, But again, that goes to Hansi Flick and the clarity of what he wants to do and just in getting better. I like the moves that they made in the summer with Adeyemi and Gordon because he talks about the high press up the field, right? He gets rid of Lewandowski. Of course, he goes to Chicago Fire, a guy that wasn't going to press all over the place. Like, there's moments that he now can build on with this group, and he's brought 2 players in, I think, that fit the system. I'm interested to see how Anthony Gordon does because last year, he talked about how Champions League was a little bit more open than the Premier League was, and there was more space to operate. He's going to see that on a weekly basis now, right? It's going to look more like Champions League than it is going to look like the Premier League for his season all year.
Yeah. So these are the players that have come into Barcelona and also left the club. Tom, how would you kind of grade this transfer window for them?
I think the Adeyemi fee at $25 million because his contract was expiring a year, that is a brilliant piece of business. I think that he's going to do well at Barcelona, but that's a move where if he doesn't, you could sell him in a year for $40 million. And for a club that is banging up against the ceiling of FIFA fair play, financial regulations and everything, that is very, very useful. It also allows you to pay a little bit more for Anthony Gordon. And I think these 2 players in particular, they're going to bring energy on top of their technical and intellectual ability, but a specific type of run. It's the half space between the fullback and the center back. Anthony Gordon in particular, a lot of people, myself included, might look at the fee and say, ooh, that's a lot for somebody. You just look at his goals and assists. They are signing him to make the run between the right back and the center back 60 times a game if he starts. And that opens up space for everybody around you. And I think that's going to fit very, very well in Hansi Flick's system. Now, if he doesn't score goals or create assists, that won't matter. Cool. You can get a lot of people who can make that run a lot. But that is why he was signed. And I think he's going to do well at this club.
Nico, do you like the transfers into Barcelona?
Yeah, I mean, I think they addressed a couple of, not issues, but more than that, they addressed their depth because Rafinha has been injury prone over the last year. And if you want someone on the left-hand side that can give you that verticality, that can pounce like Anthony Gordon can, you have a player that is still growing. So I'm looking forward to see how Anthony Gordon adapts, especially, again, I'm going to refer back to this press conference. Strange that an English kid introductory press conference is like speaking Spanish. I think that shows a little bit of eagerness and with fluency, right? It shows eagerness that he knew that there was something bigger for him, and he's now finally there. And it's just a little inkling to something that I think he knows that he can grow into.
And they made a real decision. No Rashford, right? You're not, and they went after him hard and heavy, right? Early in the transfer window. So they knew their target. This was their guy that they wanted.
Yeah. We're going to take a look now at how Barcelona could line up going into next season. Tom, looking at this starting 11, do you think this is a team that could make a run in the Champions League and go back to back in La Liga?
Yeah, and I love the fluidity from the attack, though that does come with a drawback. I know that Hansi Flick would prefer this system where Rafinha can be the center forward, or Gordon is making the run, Rafinha drifts wide, Dani Olmo goes up and plays as a false 9. So there's fluidity that I like, but there's also the issue of maybe not Lewandowski because of his age. He scored a lot of goals there before the season, or even the season that passed. But it's going to be interesting when you come up in the highest leverage games, because you could score a bunch of goals in La Liga. I think that they can win La Liga. They can compete with Real Madrid even in game-by-game situations. In the Champions League, are we going to look at this and go, oh, who's the reliable goal scorer in this group? So that's my only worry with them, but that costs a lot of money.
Look at PSG. Who's a reliable goal scorer in PSG? They spread the wealth incredibly with such a fluid attack.
Yeah, and again, I think that that's the idea here, but that sounds really awesome in theory, and then it can work out like it has with PSG, but how many times has it been like, oh, you don't need a leading scorer, you don't need a talisman because everybody's going to score. And then you get into a game when it's 0-0 and it goes, shoot, who's our guy?
Listen, if they don't have Ferran Torres, they have Fermin Lopez. Fermin Lopez, man, I feel like no one rates him as much as they should rate him. He's excellent. Excellent. He can come in and score goals. And when he's been asked to because of injuries, he always shows up. Fermin has been awesome. So this attack, I see this attack and I think, wow. I mean, they can achieve anything they want to if they get it right.
Will Ferran Torres be here on September 3rd when the window closes? Because he's out of contract in a year from now. There's no new deal. And this is a team that, again, constantly is hitting the ceilings and being worried about financial fair play. Can they afford to let a player leave for free in a year, even if it's a $20 million fee this summer? Like, is that something that they could pass up?
Yeah. That's the Barcelona business that they have to deal with. But, I mean, if I could figure out a way, I would keep both. I mean, Fermin is going to stay, but I would keep Ferran also. I think they're both really good assets to have on a team that, you know, Yamal is injury prone, Rafinha is injury prone. So
Didn't we kind of just see this with Spain, right? It's like goals by committee. It's more about the collective than it is about the one guy.
who was their goals? No one's going to remember in 20 years from now who the top goal scorer of this Spain
we
team
have
was.
this example, right? It was Yamal, I think, with 16, and it was Ferran Torres with 16, and Lewandowski had 14 last year. Like it was spread throughout the team. There's enough goals in this team.